All right, let's talk about something we all spend a ton of energy trying to avoid: boredom. You know that feeling, right? But what if I told you that it's not the enemy we all think it is? What if it's actually useful?
So let's just kick things off with a pretty big question for, well, all of us in this day and age. That little phone in your hand, yeah, it's great at curing your boredom in 2 seconds flat. But is it also accidentally silencing some of your brain's most powerful, most creative ideas?
For most of us, it feels like we're in a constant, lifelong war against being bored. We're pretty much taught from day one that it's this negative thing, a sign of laziness, something you need to fix and fix now.
Yeah, the standard view is that it's just an uncomfortable, totally unproductive waste of time. It's that awkward gap in your day where you feel this pressure that you should be doing something, anything other than just sitting there.
But what if that's all completely backwards? What if that, I'm so bored feeling is actually a really sophisticated tool your brain uses, like a built-in alarm system that's trying to tell you something incredibly important?
Okay, so let's get into it. Let's look at what science actually says boredom is. Because it turns out it's not a bug in our system, it's a feature, a really, really important one.
Scientists have a term for it. They call boredom a functional emotion. Okay, so what does that mean? Well, think about pain, right? Pain warns you, hey, don't touch that hot stove. Boredom works the same way. It's an emotional signal yelling, hey, what you're doing right now is starving your brain of any real meaning or challenge. And look, our understanding of this has come a long, long way. Way back in the 30s, studies on factory workers showed our brains are hardwired to try and escape monotonous tasks. Fast forward to 1986, and scientists could actually measure boredom and even link it to our brain's reward system, specifically a drop in that feel-good chemical, dopamine. It really all boils down to this idea of a Goldilocks zone. See, your brain is always looking for that sweet spot of stimulation. Not too much, because that's stressful, but not too little either. And when your mental energy drops below that optimal zone, well, that's when the boredom alarm starts blaring. So, what happens when that alarm goes off? How does it trigger this incredibly powerful process inside your head? Because this is where it gets really cool. It's not just about feeling fidgety, it's about your brain kicking into a very, very special gear. Okay, to get this, you gotta know that your brain kinda has two main modes. There's the active task brain, which is what you're using right now to focus on me. But when that focus stops, a whole different system lights up. It's called the default mode network, or DMN. Just think of it as your brain's own private brainstorming workshop. And here's the absolute key. Boredom isn't where the story ends, it's the trigger that starts this amazing 4-step cycle. First, your mental energy drops. Then, bam, the boredom alarm goes off. That flips a switch in your head, turning on that default mode network. And then, your brain starts making its own fun, daydreaming, planning for the future, and solving problems in the background. Researchers have this great name for it: Autobahn mode. It's perfect, right? When your DMN is running, your thoughts are no longer stuck in city traffic. They're flying down a highway with no speed limit, zipping between different parts of your brain and making these surprising new connections. This is literally where creativity happens. So now we know how it works, but what are the results? What are the actual superpowers you unlock when you let this happen? And I'm not talking about theories here. These are benefits that have been proven again and again in studies. For starters, research clearly shows that letting yourself get bored, letting that DMN do its thing, directly boosts your creativity. It also helps lock in your memories for the long haul. And get this, it even helps us figure out who we are and what we want out of life by clarifying our goals. Pretty amazing, right? If you want some hard evidence, there was this fantastic study back in 2014 that just perfectly shows the link between being bored and being creative. It's such a great example of this whole process in action. Okay, so scientists took two groups of people. They gave Group A the most mind-numbingly boring task imaginable, reading names out of a phone book. Seriously. Group B got to do a fun, interesting craft. Afterwards, they gave everyone a creativity test. And the results? They were wild. The group that was bored to tears scored way, way higher on creativity. It's like their brains had been warming up, getting ready to escape the dullness by being inventive. And that brings us to the big problem of modern life. If being bored is so good for us, what happens when every single one of us is carrying a little machine in our pocket designed to kill boredom instantly? Think about it.
Every time you feel that first little hint of boredom, that restlessness, and you immediately grab your phone and start scrolling, you're basically hitting a giant mute button on your brain's alarm system. You're cutting off the signal before it can even do its job.
The real risk here with this constant avoidance of boredom is that we might be stopping our default mode network from ever fully firing up. By always giving our brain an easy external distraction, we might be training it to never do that crucial internal work.
And this leads to a pretty scary question that researchers are seriously trying to figure out right now. If we never use this part of our brain, is our natural creativity muscle just going to get weaker and weaker? And the honest answer is, we don't really have the long-term data yet. We have no idea what the full effect will be on a generation that's grown up with the power to instantly stop their minds from ever just wandering. So let's just wrap this all up. The big takeaway is this: boredom is not a failure. It's a functional, important alarm. It's the trigger for your brain's amazing default mode network, and letting it happen is proven to make you a better problem solver. But our phones and our tablets, they act like a constant mute button, short-circuiting this whole vital process. So I'll just leave you with this final thought, a kind of challenge. The next time you're standing in line, waiting for something, and you feel that familiar itch to just start scrolling, just try resisting, just for a minute. You might be completely amazed by what your brain has been waiting to tell you.